Good morning. It's my honor and privilege to join with my fellow ALPA pilots, staff, and distinguished guests in this beautiful garden to honor the memories of the passengers and the flight and cabin crews of United Airlines Flight 175, United Flight 93, American Airlines Flight 11, and American Airlines Flight 77. 13 years ago on a beautiful day, the United States was ruthlessly attacked at precisely 8:46 a.m. We lost the crew members, family, and friends on American Airlines Flight 11. At 9:03, United Airlines Flight 175. At 9:37, American Airlines Flight 77, and at 10:07, United Flight 93. We're all too familiar with the sobering numbers. The terrorists murdered nearly 3,000 people, including more than 600 union members. The terrorists based their barbaric success on visible destruction, buildings, aircraft, and the death toll, which is why they ultimately failed. Because in their quest for sickening instant gratification, they misjudged our spirit and the galvanizing global support that immediately rallied to reject the cold-blooded, inhumane acts. That spirit of rejection, as well as reclamation, is alive and well today. Yes, 13 years ago, our lives changed dramatically, some more than others, but all of us resolved to carry forward the legacy of their sacrifice, and with that renewed awareness of vigilance, we pledge to be the guardians of the spirit and protect the memories of our lost friends and colleagues. We also pledge to be the guardians of the profession, and we pledge to be the guardians of safe and secure skies. Today, ALPA proudly continues to support and participate in the U.S. State Department's Terrorism Information Reward Program because we know that remaining vigilant is critical to not allowing history to repeat itself. 13 years after 9/11, there are still unacceptable gaps in cargo security. Operations outside of SIDA and the lack of adequate security background checks of individuals that have access to our aircraft are still weaknesses in our system. We still lack a requirement for cockpit secondary barriers on our cargo and passenger aircraft. United 175 Captain Victor Sarancini cannot lobby Congress for the barrier that might have saved his life, but we are his guardians. And we carry his name and his memory with us when we walk the halls of Capitol Hill in support of the Sarancini Aviation Act. And each year, we'll continue to fight to preserve full funding for the FFDO program to ensure FFDOs receive the strongest possible training. The Airline Pilots Association International remains focused on the work that remains. We'll never falter in our determination to make commercial aviation as safe and as secure as it can possibly be. United Flight 93, Captain Jason Dahl, First Officer Leroy Homer Jr., Flight Attendant Lorraine Bay, Flight Attendant Sandra Bradshaw, Flight Attendant Wanda Green, Flight Attendant Cece Lyles, Flight Attendant Deborah Welsh, United Flight 175, Captain Victor Sarancini, First Officer Michael Horrocks, Flight Attendant Robert Fangman, Flight Attendant Amy Jarrett, Flight Attendant Amy King, Flight Attendant Catherine Labore, Flight Attendant Alfred Marchand, Flight Attendant Michael Taro, Flight Attendant Alicia Titus, Customer Service Representative Marianne McFarland, Customer Service Representative Jesus Sanchez, American Flight 11, Captain John Oganowski, First Officer Thomas McGinnis, Flight Attendant Barbara Aristigu, Flight Attendant Jeffrey Coleman, Flight Attendant Sarah Lowe, Flight Attendant Karen Martin, Flight Attendant Kathleen Nicosia, Flight Attendant Betty Ong, Flight Attendant Jean Roger, Flight Attendant Diane Snyder, Flight Attendant Madeline Sweeney, American Flight 77, Captain Charles Burlingame, First Officer David Charlebois, Flight Attendant Michelle Heidenberger, Flight Attendant Jennifer Lewis, Flight Attendant Kenneth Lewis, Flight Attendant Renee May. At this time, I invite Jerry Wright, who is our manager in ALPA's Engineering and Air Safety Department, who is a founding member and deacon of the Purcellville, Virginia Church of Christ, for the invocation. Jerry?
Good morning. Of the many thoughts and emotions that ran so high in that day of infamy 13 years ago, perhaps none was so troubling as the searing reminder that life is both fragile and brief. The scriptures vividly describe the brevity of life with numerous analogies. It is faster than a weaver's shuttle. It is as lasting as a shadow. It is like a flower or grass of a field that flourishes for a short time before fading away. The psalmist wrote, "Lord, make me to know my end, and what is the measure of my days, that I may know how frail I am. You have made my days as handbreadths, and my age is nothing before you. Certainly every man at his best state is but vapor." In this there is a great irony. Despite our human frailty and the uncertainty of life, God calls on us to live lives of vigor and valor and victory. Despite the tremendous loss that we suffered as a country, as a united people, we were by no means defeated, for from that loss arose a national will to be strong and victorious and to overwhelm those who had harmed us. And our actions spoke much louder than our words. But our work is not and never will be fully done. Our world changed forever on 9/11, and we see in the ongoing Middle East conflagration a continuing danger to our country, to our way of life, and to our industry from those who cannot conceive of living in peace and freedom and enjoying the fruits of liberty as we do today in our God-blessed land. And it is for that reason that we petition Him to protect us from those who mean us evil. We ask Him to shield our brave men and women who daily risk their lives in the service of their country, that we may be a free people. We ask for wisdom for our leaders, that their choices will help make us stronger and better, safer and more secure. We implore God to safeguard those men and women who transport precious cargo in aircraft flying many miles above the earth, and to protect them from the threats of evildoers. Most importantly at this time, we ask for God's blessings as we honor and revere the memory of all of those who were taken from us on September 11, 2001, but especially the crews of the 4 flights of tragedy. They are gone, but they are not and will not be forgotten. This remembrance garden stands in silent testimony to our collective resolve to never forget our fallen friends and colleagues, never forget why they perished, and never forget the profound duty that we have during the brief vapor of our lives to do all within our power to secure and maintain the blessings of freedom and liberty.
At this time, I invite Jody Krazai from our ALPA's IT department to sing Amazing Grace as Captains Helling and Couette place the memorial wreath. Jody?
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that gave a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, we have already come. 'Twas grace that brought us safe thus far, and grace will lead us home.
This concludes our program. On behalf of the pilots and staff of the Airline Pilots Association, I thank all of you for joining us to honor our colleagues and all those who lost their lives 13 years ago today. Thank you.